Hey guys, welcome back. So this is now episode number 4 of the Trading with Bot Scalper YouTube series. These are educational series. And in the first episode, I had introduced the Trading with Bot Scalper. I've shown you the marketplace, how to subscribe to the signal in the marketplace, and I went through the documentation that I have built or continue to build for the scalper, for the strategy. These YouTube videos are also part of the documentation. On the part 2, I have shown you the CoinM or inverse bot templates, and I went through the sizing. I explained how to size the bots and how to size your account in order to manage your risk. Since these are DCA bots, they do not have stop loss, you are trading with leverage, it is possible to oversize your bots and get yourself in trouble, liquidate your account. So that was the purpose of the second video. On the third part, part 3, and that was yesterday's episode, I've shown you USD margin settings, and I talked about the wide setting versus mini setting, and we looked at the performance of them. I also have pointed out the fact that you can run both long and short bots on the same account, and this way you could hedge your setup and increase your ROI as you would trade into opposite directions and utilize the budget effectively. And finally, today, I'd like to look at the settings versus stop loss. So we're coming close to an end. There may be one, at most two more episodes that I would create later next week or week after, possibly answering your questions or sharing some tips and tricks. However, we're coming to an end where I believe I have explained to you how to work with the settings and the scalper. And in today's episode, I'd like to look at the stop loss settings. So some of you may prefer a bot that uses stop loss or a strategy that uses a stop loss. It is possible to do. And I'll show you the performance, and I'll show you the effectiveness and the ROI that you can reach with such settings. The scalper itself would not be different. However, there are 4 variables that you could tune. If you're using a stop loss and you're using the scalper signal, you could play around with your target profit, and the range I recommend here is between 0.30 and 0.55. You could tune your stop loss setting, and by default, I recommend 1%. And there you could also consider using safety orders and consider using additional filters. I recommend not using any safety orders, 0. And as far as filters, yes, it is possible. I have one that I will share with you, and you can use that as well, or you can think of your own filters to use. So let's now open 3Commas platform, and I'll show you the bots that have a variation of these variables, and we'll look at the performance of these bots together. Now we'll search for a particular set of bots that I have, and I sort them by total profit. So this is a condition 0, I call them. This is basically a default setting that I have. It uses 0 safety orders. It has 1% of a stop loss. And what's different between these bots right here is the take profit target. The very first bot on a list, which has currently 0 profit, but 34 deals, is a bot where take profit target is 0.25%. So it's a break-even bot obviously not very successful, didn't make any money, and you can see it was actually in profit, then there was a series of losses, and now it's back to zero. Now, the reason for that is because the take profit 0.25 is too small comparing to the stop loss of 1%. So the risk to reward ratio does not allow this bot to be profitable. The risk is 1%, but reward is only 0.25%. However, as we increase the take profit target 0.3, 35, 40, 50, up to 0.55, the total profits actually increase. The number of deals varies, and the way you look at it is simple. A very small take profit, 0.3 for example, allows the bot to get out of the deal faster. That's a scalper, 0.3% reached, and the deal is closed. Once we increase this variable, then the number of deals decreases. Yes, you have bigger profit per deal, but the risk is if the price goes up and you're not able to get out and then it goes down, then there is a chance that you will be stopped out with a stop loss. So let's look at 0.4 and 0.5. So now this is the picture for 0.4 and 0.5 target profit on these bots. You can see a series of days when we were full in profit, followed by the times when the markets were a bit more bearish. And since this is a long bot, they were less successful in managing their deals and were stopped out. The good thing, of course, is that the total profit is still positive. Now, these are tiny amounts, but remember, I'm trading in Bitcoin, so I think this is still scalable and relevant as a test. And we could scale it up by 10, 100,000 times, and the behavior would be similar. I will test this with larger funds, but given the fact that I had to perform many tests, I wanted to test small. So if I put this into an edit mode, as I mentioned, you have one variable you can edit, that's your target profit. Remember in the previous DCA bots, I was recommending you use 0.3 as a default, but I said you could go higher. Here, I definitely think you could or should go a bit higher than 0.3. However, do not go above 0.55. Even 0.55 may be a bit inconsistent in terms of profits, so 0.5 is something I would say you should go for if you use a stop loss. And I will leave a link to this bot in the description, so you can copy that. The second variable that you can edit is the stop loss percent. I'm not using any other settings here in this box, although they could be interesting. The reason I'm not using that is because I was doing a number of tests and I wanted to simplify my data analysis. So 1% is my default testing wave, but I had a little bit of test with other percent, and I will show you this now to you. This one bot, I had 2.45% of a stop loss. Again, similar conditions. This currently is 0.3. I do not think I did any other tests. I should, because 2.4% right here, 245 of a stop loss was still producing a positive outcome. The order size is different on this bot, so we have a slightly different now here profit amounts, but overall the picture is similar. And now I want to go back into 3C tools and show you a bit of statistics for this bot and the previous that I've shown to you, and discuss these statistics with you in terms of success rate and risk to reward ratio. So this is a bot with 2.45% stop loss, and I will open with 0.5. So 0.5. Okay, 2.45. So this bot has a very good win rate, 90%. However, what's concerning me is the risk to reward ratio, because we are risking 2.45%. And note, by the way, that these percentages are usually higher than the stop loss itself because of the slippage. When the price moves against you, you are forced to close your position at the market price, and if there's no offering, there's a slippage. So I can set to 245 and it can be close to that, but it could be further away, like this one right here. And I'm risking here basically 0.30 cents or 26, 29, but my profit is only 0.04 cents. Again, imagine you can scale this by 100 or 1,000. So because the success rate is high, we get in a series of wins here. And in total, they are offsetting the losses, but the losses are quite large here, as you can see. So this could which bot is this? Right here. This could, no, it's not this one, sorry. Yeah, right here. This could take you into periods of losses overall. You see here, there was an excellent period when the profits were high, and then suddenly when the price was dropping at the beginning of May, we were in reds, and then finally, again, recovering back to it. Now, if I look at the statistics on 1%, the risk to reward ratio is slightly better, especially if I'm using take profit of 0.5%. So I'm risking 1% to win 0.5%, still not perfect. You can see that the win rate actually decreases because I give this bot a narrower range, only 1% instead of 2.45. And it's more likely to be stopped out in this case. These are different order sizes, but you can see that we have basically the loss that you can have is twice as your win, sometimes 3 times because of the slippage. But with the high success rate or win rate, you stay in profit. Now, I mentioned to you that there is one more thing that you could do here, and that's the additional condition or a filter. So again, just to repeat, no safety orders. I do not recommend adding any safety orders, just a base order. And now coming back to this force variable that you could do, additional filter. I have one that I will share with you in this video, and you're welcome to look for your own filter if you want to go with this, if you want to continue experimenting with my settings. So here I go back to my bots, and let me find this, find my condition. I call it condition 22. I was testing quite a lot of them. And it's Heikin-Ashi. So if I go into the bot and I put it in the edit mode, you can see that this was a stocked condition. So the first one is the signal that you subscribed. Then I clicked on add condition, and you could add more. Various conditions depending on availability of these algorithms. Different exchanges have different algorithms. And the one that I can recommend is this TA preset, 3 minutes, Heikin-Ashi one candle. So that's another bot that I will leave in the description of the video, and you can try. I will share that with you. And you can see that this bot is also relatively successful. And I tested only, this is 0.5%. Condition 22, I tested only this one take profit target. More could be tested. And it has 0.5%. Now, I don't think that that filter is adding that much of an additional benefit. If I go back to my sorting, you can see that this condition 22 has only slightly higher total profit than condition 0, basically no additional condition, just the scalper. And I have all the other settings such as take profit that are the same. So there are a smaller number of deals. Naturally, also smaller number of deals that were lost and won, and just a slightly increase. But everything helps in this business. So you may find your own condition. If you find something interesting, please share that with me. And finally, let me do a bit of a discussion on the performance of these settings and the ROI. So bear with me, this will take another 3 minutes. And we do this manually because this is in Bitcoin. So 3C tools will not help me to calculate an ROI with a stop loss. So let's take my base order like we did before and we convert it into US dollars. So that's $1. I could take another bot as well, but let's just stay here. $1.09. Let me record this. So base order, $1.09. And my minimum account size to open that one base order actually can be 15 times smaller because I'm using a leverage 15. So my leverage is 15, and I would only need 7 cents on the account size. Again, imagine scaling this by 1,000 or thinking of this as 1,000. Now, of course, I will not trade 100% of my account. So let's say I trade 10% of my account. So my account actually needs to be 10 times larger. So that's my account size, 0.72. Then let's go back to this bot and look at the profit. Total profit is 0.5. And this bot had been running, okay, less than a month from May 9. So profit. And ROI would be profit over total investment or total account size. So we have 6.8% if you're trading 10% of the account. Let's do one more bot real fast. And that's the one with, that's the one I want to show you with 2.4% of a stop loss. So it's slightly different setting, but it has a different order size. So let me find it right here. So this bot had run now over 1 month. So today is 28. This was opened on April 21st. So 1 month and 1 week. And the order size here is this. So that's $9.67 of an order size. Now, what would be the stop loss here? So if my stop loss is 0.25%, then my stop loss amount is equal to order size multiplied by the stop loss, 24 cents, or with the slippage higher. As you recall, as I was showing you in 3C Tools, that's exactly what was happening here. 26, 25, 24, that's the stop loss amount when we were stopped out. And as I mentioned, only making 4 cents. But again, you can scale this up to 100 or 1,000. So if my base order is 9.6, my minimum account balance to open that would be 0.64 with the leverage 15. And if I wanted to have 10 times more in the account, then I could have maybe $6 account or 6,000.4 account size. Well, how much profit did it bot make? Where is it? This one. So 1 month and 1 week, that was the total profit amount. Okay, it made 45 cents. If I had this account size, we make an assumption here. That's the percent that it made of the investment. So I guess that's not huge, not groundbreaking, but it's still positive. So I'm happy about that. I'm somewhat new in developing strategies with a stop loss, strategies that look at risk to reward ratio. I've been mainly trading with DCA. And also the strategy itself, the signal, is not designed to have a high risk to reward ratio. This is more of a scalper that looks at the short-term price fluctuations. But still, it works. So if you do want to use a stop loss, with this strategy, with the signal, you can, and you would still stay in profit. Guys, thank you very much for bearing with me. We were on part 4, and we are almost done with this educational series. Next weekend, I will shoot another episode. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And after that, I'll continue to make short updates via Telegram channel and mainly talk about performance of the strategy. Then I'll go back into my development mode, research mode, and stay stay engaged this way. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Talk to you next time.